I've spent $40,509 worth of Frost Stars in Whiteout Survival in 175 days. I'm trying to play as an efficient whale. It's not going so well. I mean, it's going well. It's going well, you know, overall. But my budget is not going so well. My efficiency, I feel like, is fine, but my budget's not going so well. Let me get into a couple things. Actually, before I do that, let me just show you something. I did top off again. I did. Because my budget is not going so well. My efficiency is going pretty well, I think, but my budget's not going so well. So I put in some more. I do have a little bit more contracting money coming in, so I was like, all right, let me just one more time, maybe a few more times, but you know, just at least this one time. But see this 5% bouncing above my head? They're still running that 5% top off promo, so I went ahead and pulled the trigger again. I'm like, I don't know how long this thing's gonna last, but the most important thing I want you to know about is I got a link in my video description. If you use that, it'll help me out. It doesn't cost you anything. It just brings you to the same official shop where I buy all my Frost Stars. That's the only thing I trust, and you get that extra 5% top off bonus while that's running. And if you use my link, I get some Frost Stars as well. It just gives me some credit for the sale. It doesn't cost you anything, and I get some Frost Stars. So if you want to help me out, that's one way to do it. Let's talk about efficiency though. Let's talk about Dawn Market. I bought out Dawn Market for the Chief Gear stuff yesterday, and somebody brought up a good point. I think it's a good point, but man, we're going to get into some details on what efficiency means tonight. I don't know how else to do this. This is a number crunching thing. You're either going to like this content or you're not, but let's get into it. So that spreadsheet I've been working on, I think I am going to share the link to this. I did get started on like editing it to be able to put some notes in here saying, you know, what I've done to modify it, but I really do want to make sure that Torxum gets all the credit. So I made sure I retained all that in here because he's the one who got this spreadsheet started. And you know, I mean, it's just math at the end of the day. Anybody could put one of these together, but he put a lot of work into this, and I want to make sure that he gets the credit for, you know, the original spreadsheet. And I'm just modifying for FC5, and I think I'll start modifying it a little bit, and then I'll make it my own over time. And I might even come up with different methodologies, but I like where it's going. I like how it's done. First, let's remember that everything on the front page here, the item valuation, is basically based on, you know, it's trying to establish a routine baseline. So like, for example, for Mia, you know, it's using Mia as the fire crystals and gems and general speed ups. And if you look over here, I put a comment in here saying what my method was. So for my generation, $370 gets you 2,400 tickets. If you go through the optimal Mia optimizer strategy, that'll give me 35.6 prizes on average. I did it, you know, simulation after simulation using the optimal strategy. And for 2,400 tickets, which was $370 worth, you'd get 35.6 prizes. So you just multiply that out by what the prizes are in your generation, and that's how you get this value established for Mia. And then, you know, custom pet chests, I just fed the information in here, how many, you know, per 100 and etc. That's basically how you establish the relative value, the baseline, you know, relative value. Then we get into, what I was talking about last night, Dawn Market. Now, somebody brought up what I think is a good point worth discussing, but I ultimately think it really depends on how you choose to assign value. So what this person said is, and I've got this from some of the comments as well, because they saw me buying the Hero Gear packs and said, oh, that's not actually the best value. Well, it is actually. It just depends on what your definition is. So if you value everything in the pack that is worth something, which includes the enhancement components and the gems, you're getting $6.59 worth of value from that pack compared to where you'd get those items elsewhere. I don't know how else to do this valuation. I like what Torxum did here because this is the ultimate value of the pack. It's anything in that pack that has value. But it is true that if you were trying to get Lucky Hero Gear chests specifically, you're not getting as many of them. But even if you just value the Lucky Hero Gear chests and the XP components, enhancement XP components, you're still getting $5.55 worth of materials for $5. So, versus $5 for those same materials, because those values are based on the enhancement chest, in the routine tab anyways. So you're still getting some value there. But if you're really looking for the most number of specific items, that's different. It's actually hard to assign a value, like comparatively, the value of an item in the pack when it's not standalone like that. So I really don't know how else to do it other than the way it's been done here. You establish a baseline value from the main packs and then project the total value of the pack here. I think that's really the best way to do it. because at the end of the day, you can't ignore the other things that come in the pack that have value. So, this is going to be, this is a debatable point, I think, but, this is the way I'm going to have to look at it for myself, because, it is true though. If this thing, let's say this thing had 100,000 gems in there. Well, I don't really want the gems. I want the Lucky Hero Gear chest, but is it worth more? Yeah, it would be worth more, but it's not really getting me the items that I want. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at some of these valuations. If I can figure out a better way to assign a relative, value of the items in the pack, then maybe I'll try to do that. But until I can figure that out, what I'd have to do is discount the idea that the gems are here and then just do the calculation on, in this case, if you're only interested in Lucky Hero Gear chest, then you're only getting $2.22 worth of Lucky Hero Gear chests for a $5 purchase. Well, if you look at it like that, that's not a great purchase. So maybe that's one way to do your assessment, is like what's the value of the packs or the items you're getting versus the cost you're spending. So that is something we're thinking about, and maybe I'll work on a little modification here where I do that little math and put a little extra indicator in this spreadsheet. But I'm mentioning all this because what we have tonight is we have another couple events that I triggered, and I don't know why it's here, but in the Vault of Enigma tab, he must have been doing some playing around here, but it's exactly what I got going on right now. I've got a Hero Gear Mastery, and I've got Craftsman Treasure, the Might, Craft, and the Valor. And so I plugged in our values, or made sure that these were all accurate for what we have in our gen. And here's what it looks like. This actually looks like, phenomenal value. I knew the Hero Gear Mastery, it just felt like it was pretty good value, but look at the value. You spend $100 and you get $137.45 worth of materials. So, all right, $20 of that is the gems. So even if you subtract that out, it's still $117.45, or roughly $117 worth of stuff for $100. And if you then subtract out the essence stones, well, now I don't know what game you're playing, because you're only getting $27 worth. Like a big portion of this is the essence stones, but you're using essence stones to trigger this. So, this is why I'm saying, like, to me, I'm going to tend to look at the overall value of the pack, because everything in the game has some value intrinsically or otherwise. Gems convert to pet power, for example, right? So like, or to, stamina cans if you're, using stamina for SVS. So everything converts to something. So everything has value. Then we look at now I'm looking at the Hero Gear again. The reason I'm mentioning this is if we look at the Hero Gear chest, the Craftsman, Treasure Valor, this has the best proportion. But, I don't know, some people could argue like, hey, well, look, you're going to spend $5. So this is actually really good value. You're spending $5 and getting $11.59 worth of value. So even if they give you, even if it's diminishing returns as it scales up, I don't know, I haven't triggered the $5 pack yet, it's still pretty good value. And, if you have to include the fact that it has gems and the XP components in there as well, because it's got a lot of XP components, and that's useful. It's just not, if you're looking specifically for Lucky Hero Gear chests, then yeah, it's not the right mix for you, but you can't say that it's not a valuable, pack. So this is what I'm looking at tonight, and this is what I've been trying to do more of, is just study these packs and understand, where the value is, and then I'll try to keep on improving this spreadsheet over time so that I can continue to improve my efficiency, basically. But this is what we're looking at. We got the Craftsman Treasure pop up here, and that's why I was looking at it. So I think, to me, this is fire crystals and stones. I don't really need, I got other sources for that, but just, again, the charm materials are just hard to get sometimes, so you pay a premium for them. But if I'm looking at this pack just from the perspective of what's the better pack, and let's see if it scales up. Let's play a little game tonight. Like I said, I don't know. This budget thing, I'm doing the best I can to document as I go, and then I'm going to have to figure out what that means in the future. But right now, the budget's off track. But let's see. So I'm curious if this doubles at the $10 mark. So if I buy it at the $5 mark, yeah, and it's doubling at the $10 mark. So it basically looks like it's doubling. So it scales up. It's scaling up. So it looks like, to me, like the value is there. I'm going to buy this at least up to the $30 mark tonight. We do have another night on it, so I'm going to press pause on this for a second because I'm going to give this some time to simmer while I listen to all the comments that I'm sure will be coming in on this topic. So as far as I can tell, though, this looks like a really high value item for Hero Gear. I mean, you know, it's got the Hero Gear chests and the XP components. Yes, it's not as many. I'd like to see more Hero Gear chests if possible, of course, but like the value is there. The analysis I've done, the value is there. Now here's another controversial one, and I know I'm gonna catch, you know, I'm gonna catch some comments over this, but yes, I'm on a budget. I just can't ignore this. I accidentally triggered this when I was doing some of that gear enhancement that I was talking, or mastery that I was talking about doing on my alternate set, and I popped out of the screen and I got the Hero Gear mastery, and I'm like, all right, I'll save that for the content for the channel tomorrow. You treat it like a special event, right? This is a special event fund. I mean, I know it's not exactly a special event. I can trigger it whenever I want, but like, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out what this means for my budget going forward, because it is a great source of lucky Hero Gear chests. It's a great way to replace essence stones that you use. I just ultimately can't ignore it. We just looked at the value that you get out of it. I just can't ignore it. I just can't let it sit there and go unused, can I? No, I can't. I can't do it. Can't do it to myself. I deserve it. I earned it. All right. So I don't know. I don't know what to do about that one, but that's what I did. So let's take a look at the standard section again. Artisan Shrove is already done at the at the couple levels. So again, like if I really want to press Chief Gear, like it is, I got another day on it, so I'm gonna let that sit. Dawn Market's already bought out, and I did that for the Hero Gear, like I showed. The pet chest. The pet chest I got another day on, so I'll wait on that as well, because I got to spend on Mia tonight, and I don't know what else is coming. And then let's see, we'll do the daily deals. Grab this for $5, see if I can get lucky. A little luck, I'll take it. And then do these claims here. It's not a new week yet, so don't need to worry about buying here yet. All right, so take all those. Check out the deals section, we got Mia's. So let's come back around to that. Let's just do these other claims, get them out of the way. Got the Hero Rally, sign in, and Deadshot. Oh, we got 5 on the Deadshot. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's shoot. Let's shoot to shoot. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Come on, Deadshot. You gonna be nice to me tonight or not? Maybe. Maybe. It's the best start I've had on a recorded Deadshot. Let's just go right across the middle. Let's see what happens. All right. Now where do I go? Oh, the corners are always mean to me, so let's try the insides. All right. Hey now. I think this is already one of the better dead shots I've had. All right. Now which corner do I go with? Let's try this one. Oh, come on. 1 in 4 chance and I picked the wrong corner. But that is not a bad dead shot run, so I'll take it. You know, could have been better stuff inside there, but hey, I'll take it. All good. Not disappointed with that. I think the new transfers in the state affected my luck. All right, before I finish off the deal section, I just want to make sure we're covering the rest. Yeah, all right. I'll come back around to the events before we're done, so that'll give me something else to take a look at. So let's see. We'll grab the free stuff here. And I've done what I can with daily missions before recording. I'm going to buy this up to spend $85 on this. And I think I've established that you could probably get close to closing out the $750 by going only to the $20 mark, probably, because I'm already at the $640 mark. So if I did the $20, if I spent $35 2 days in a row, plus the free stuff you get, you probably come really close with a little bit of luck. But I did get some luck yesterday. So you might have to go to 50 once and 20 the next day, something like that. But looking pretty good. So let's see. We're going to just play this down until as long as we have 96, that's the optimal strategy. And I did select the fire crystals already, so let's see if we can get some luck tonight. Come on. Oh boy, here we go. Oh, why do I always get the materials? Wow. All right, let's do it again. not, you know, I'd like to try to get some of those multipliers on the fire crystals, but all right. That's a pretty good board. Let's see if we can get the multiplier, though, on the fire crystals. Oh, come on, man. Too early. Got it too early. I'll take that. Not horrible. All right, let's see. These speeds, this is kind of a nice board. But you really, if you're going to get the multiplier, you kind of want it late. Oh, let's see. How about over here? Well, didn't work out. Not a bad board, though. That was pretty good stuff. What I'd like to see is a multiplier without any resources on the board. That would be nice. That way, no matter what you hit, it's kind of good. Well, that didn't work. All right, let me grab these claims first. All right, here we go. All right, that's nice. Round one. I don't think I've ever done that. Oh, we got some multipliers and very little resources on the board. I'd really like to clear the resources before hitting a multiplier. Ah, all right, well, all right. That's twice in a row I got it on the first try. Not bad. Ah. Well, all right. I deserved a full board after getting lucky a couple times in a row. All right. Not a horrible board, but those two resources need to get out of the way. All right, there's one of them. There's the other one. So now the board's looking pretty good. Hey, all right, I got one. This board's not too bad, but those resources are just waiting to screw me up. Oh, come on, man. Well, at this point, yeah, I was gonna say, like, it is what it is. Alright, I think this is the last round I can do. Unless I get super lucky. How about over here? Nope. Oh, alright, well. Let's see. Let's try over here. Nope, wasn't it? Ah. I almost went over there too, but I didn't. Alright, so that's it. Now, that's it. Now I just save those 34 because there's no sense in playing those tickets when I can't clear the board. So, you know, unless I magically were to get enough to clear the board, you don't touch it. You just save them for the next round of Mia's Fortune Hut. And that's how you play optimal strategy with Mia's. That's the optimal strategy right there. All right, so, and if you don't believe me, check the simulator. I put the link in yesterday's video to the simulator. You can go play around with it all day. You can simulate to your heart's content on all the different variations. So that's what we got going on with all those sections. Let's take a look at the events because there's just something I kind of want to talk about a little bit. If we look, today is like this full-scale competition for Alliance Showdown. There is the armament competition still going on, which I've already cleared for basic rewards, so I don't really need to be pushing this. I did it mainly with some expert skills speeds. So what we really got to look at is what else to do for Alliance Showdown. And I don't know, there has been some people who said like we really should kind of coordinate to make sure that we're not like really competing hard for these. We should be like just sharing it, like let one person win, like orchestrate who's going to win, and then just give everyone a turn. That sounds good to me, but like these people are using a lot of stuff outside SVS. There's no way you can put this kind of points on the board. I'm basically doing basic stuff in gems, and these people are putting millions on the board. So, I don't know how they're doing that. They must be spending some stuff. And, I'm not going to complain about it because I'm done complaining. As long as people are showing up for SVS, having a good time, I'm just going to wait until they decide that they actually want to win an SVS and start doing prep properly. That's it. I'm not going to complain about it anymore. So I think the one thing I can do to put some points on the board, there are some other things maybe I'll do that are ancillary, but the one thing I can do is I can do some pets. So, if I put like, let's see, if I do, I don't even think I need to do that many. I'll just do 500 for now. And that should be enough. 250,000 gems for 500 common wild marks. Now my common wild mark stash is looking pretty good. And I got my basic rewards unlocked. That's all I really have to do is to get those basic rewards unlocked. And I got the trucks going. I might do a little bit more Essence Stone work. Let me show you the Essence Stone work I had been doing. So if we take a look at the heroes, I got Geronimo's alt gear up to plus 39 ready to go. I've got Alonso's, that was already 39, but I got this up to plus 79 now, ready to go. Now at this point I can start working on his alt gear as well. But I'm kind of want to save the XP components, I think, to be able to have them for progression during SVS when I can use some Mithril. But I am down in Mithril because Mithril is hard to come by. Where is it? Let's see. Yeah, Mithril is hard to come by these days, and we need a Mithril event. A couple of us were talking in the game, like, we really are hurting for some Mithril. Like, the only place I can buy it now is in the regular shop, and I don't want to do that. The rate is high. So I'll buy it at the $5 mark a couple times a week just to put a little bit in the tank, but we really need a Mithril event, essentially. If not, we're going to get to SVS prep week, and I'm going to have to just buy some Mithril, I think. That's the only way to do that. So coming back around, though, if we look at what I'm doing is just putting some into this second set of mythic gear for, whatever. It's useful for Foundry and other things. I know I was talking to some players, like they don't like necessarily doing this, but I'm not going crazy with it. I'm just having a second set of gear that's useful for like an alternate march. It could be useful to some degree in Castle, but just not for much. But mainly it's there for like Foundry and other events, like maybe Canyon Clash and stuff like this. So what I've done, if you see, I've got this gear up to, I just left it plus 20 on there. Brought these up to plus, level 6. Then brought these up to level 5. I can do this a little bit more just for some points, let's see. The forging. I got to bring it up to 20, so I'll do that. I'll reset the other ones. I'll do that off camera. I'll reset the other ones, bring these up to plus 6. It's a way, I've got a lot of Essence Stones in the tank, basically. It's a way to use some of them at a time where they're accumulating anyways. I can't do much else with them. It's not really stealing much from anything from SVS because I've done the Hero Gear Mastery Pack, so I've replaced what I've used anyways. That's just, and it's, just a tiny thing to do for events and stuff like this. And we do have a Foundry coming up, so it could be useful for that as well. That's what I've been doing there. Somebody asked me again recently, although I did it recently, to take a look at neighboring states. I'm going to do it again just because you asked. But like, here's Alliance Power. Here's where we sit. We're 28 among neighboring states. I guess I've heard that's not too bad. So, but look, it does get to be quite crazy. If you look at the personal power, this dude is like off the charts. I wonder how much of that is troops, but let's see. Like I'm 33 in neighboring states. If we look, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. If we look at something like lab scores, no, in neighboring states, lab scores. So, I'm 30 at 1355. That dude is actually third place. So that must be a lot of troops then. I would think, to be at, that kind of power, but not have the power in lab. So I don't know. Still powerful dude, all things considered. But this is the top power in the state there. But I'm still, I'm hovering around top 30 in most of these, charts. So, not too bad. Island prosperity, I'm a little behind on that. Top power, I'm a little ahead on that. Total troop power, I'm a little behind on that, mainly because I don't focus on arena anymore. Total hero power, this may be a little, yeah, all right. So a lot of them are Geronimo as well. I was going to say this may be because I'm still using Geronimo. And I don't know, kill count, because I don't do BIA all that much. And I missed battle phase an awful lot because after Castle, I usually have a tight schedule. So, that's what things are looking like across the state for those of you who are curious about that. But this was the big one is, where do you stand in total power? But total power is a little bit, deceiving because, to me, because you can push that with just troops also. And it looks like some people did exactly that. Although, like I said, that total amount can't be just troops. So that's where we're sitting in the grand scheme of things. We also have a labyrinth to do tonight, but it's just the same research center in Gearforge, and I can show you what's going to happen because essentially, I've tried all different combinations. None of them are going to work because I'm at that point where I'm up against the wall. So, let's see. Nothing in particular is going to work here because I'm just, maxed out. Well, that was real close. Although that just might have been a lucky run. No, I mean, it's just not gonna. You get to a point where you can play around with the troops all you want. You're not gonna be able to do much with it because you're just maxed out, and that's kind of where I am with those two. So let's see. Last thing we need to do is check out the backpack and then check out VIP. So let's clear the backpack first. Can I get lucky? Nope, no luck there tonight. Clear these out. Let's see what things are looking like. That's what things are looking like for speeds and resources. I mean, speeds got consumed a bunch from the recent SVS. So I need to work on that bank again. And this is what my resources are looking like. Steel's still kind of hovering there. Just, unless I buy it, it doesn't go up in big amounts. So things are looking like there. And if we go to, let's put these all in the bank, basically. And take a look at experts too. I haven't looked at those in a while. Let's just do like 123 of these at a time. Let's see. Oh, only one out of that batch. Maybe I'll get 2 out of these ones if I get a pity, if I'm overlapping on the pity. No, just 1 out of that batch. All right. Kind of an okay night overall. And I'll start looking at where to allocate that to the heroes. And finally, let's just take a look at VIP. See how we're doing. There we go. We're looking at 650,000. I'm going to wait to do that spin while I have a really slow day. Today's not a really slow day. I do also want to focus on monument puzzle pieces at some point, but right now we're just looking at my puzzle pieces for Frostsphere, and it's looking pretty pathetic. I've slowed down quite a bit because I haven't been doing the spending I've normally been doing, and so I haven't been doing a lot of the Frostsphere progression, but I'll pick a day that I do a little bit more of that, and we'll start doing it again. Maybe, and of course I'm going to wait for this refresh to get another Mythic Hero Gear, so that's the plan there. Now, before I forget, let's take a look at the experts, because I did say that I was doing some expert speeds. I'll just show you what I got going on here. I mean, Romulus is kind of progressing slowly and steadily at this point. I did put a bunch of money into him last SVS, but he's kind of just progressing slowly and steadily now. I put some, skills into the rally size, so that's one thing I was focusing on. The other thing I think I want to focus on is I do want to get Holger up, because I do play it, even though I'm not really focusing on Arena, like trying to build a full strong 5 set of hero gear. I do like playing Arena, and you do get some value out of it. So what I've been doing is trying to drive these up so that this is for stats, but really I want to get these skills upgraded soon. The only question now is, like, when do I want to do it? Because it will pay benefits as soon as I do it, but man, using the books outside of an event that gives you credit for it or anything doesn't feel right. So I think I'm just going to sit on it for now and wait until I have an event, whether that's all the way to SVS. I hope not, but maybe King Icefield or something like that. I'll just use it on a day to get some, events, event points, and just get something out of it. So I'm not just, blowing the backpack out of an event and not getting anything for it. So that's what I got going on with the heroes. And Cereal's already maxed out. So the only thing left to do with Cereal is research. And I could do research with sigils, not now, but when there's an event, because I do have some. Oh, I pressed it anyways. Oh well. I was going to show you that I had Cereal sigils. Oh my god. What a noob move. I was trying to click on the sigil to show how many that I had, and I forgot that would have used it, but oh well. Points are gone now. No use crying over it. I just, make mistakes on camera all the time, and you guys get to laugh at it. So enjoy that. Enjoy that laughter. I hope you weren't eating anything or drinking anything when you saw me do that, because if I were you, it'd be a spit take. But here's what I got going on with Agnes as well. And this is just doing this through the treks and stuff, trying to progress her. This is, again, one of those things where it's like, I know that there's value that comes out of this. I'm not particularly worried about it too much because it's just basically gifts and stuff like that. And the rate you get these gifts is nothing crazy. So it's good. It's good. But like when you're spending like I am, it's not the primary source of, incoming resources and stuff in the game. Well, that's all I have for tonight. If you like watching this journey, if you want to continue to see how I'm spending and playing and what I'm doing with all this efficiency stuff I've been focusing on, not to mention how I grow as a player in the game, unlike what you just saw with the experts, I am learning learning the game and learning how to play better every day as I'm learning from a bunch of more experienced players that we've been picking up and we've been playing with. You gotta, if you like seeing this, there's only one thing you gotta do. You gotta help me out, because that's what's going to keep me creating this content. And there's two simple ways to do it. You either use the link in the video description. If you're going to buy Frost Stars anyways, use my link so it gives me some Frost Stars as a result. It's an affiliate link. I get some credit for it. Or super simple, all you got to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That way, whenever I post anything, you'll be the first to know about it. Thank you very much for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you later.